that opportunity to write down your personal goal into a work system, and having that support from your management team or whomever is a part of your company that runs that is huge for an employee. Another thing that I really like is a module in our system called perspectives. So it talking about a wellness plan. A perspective can be created to rate an employee based off of data that's collected. So, you want to integrate steps. You want to talk about, did you work out this morning? Did you log your gym time? Whatever the case might be, and the employee can get a grade return from that. So it's a nice way for the employee to see that, okay, I'm reaching my goals. That's all nice and well, and my company appreciates it because they're helping me track it. They're helping me manage it. And then, talking about millennials and the data they like to get returned on their Fitbits, they get that instant grade
Well, now,
return on how they get it.
is the system for talent management or human capital management, is that connected to a Fitbit or to a phone app?
It's connected to a phone app, but it doesn't collect those steps. That would be data entered in by the employee.
Oh, so it's a manual entry.
Yeah, most companies do it when their employees are clocking in and out at the end of the day. It's something that helps build that culture.
Okay,
right?
all right. So tell me another story about a successful company, some way that they have successfully used human capital management to increase their bottom line or help them to accomplish their vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a more recent case. I have one of your last episodes on the mind talking about benefits, and open enrollment's huge for companies, and being able as an employee to see what's offered to you and understand those benefits is huge. So I worked with a company, and they had always offered benefits to their employees. They had about 40 employees, 45 employees, so they weren't forced by the government to offer it, which they always were happy about, and they always felt like they were giving a great service to their employees. So they always went through open enrollment every year. For 45 employees, it took them about a month to get through, to educate, to get all the paperwork disseminated, to get their broker to come out and meet with the specific people who need it. And then once that happened, then the admin team would take all that data. It'd take them about a week amongst 3 people to enter it all in to the system. So now that the deductions come out, the employees see what benefits they have, and to move forward with that process. So we came in, we sat down, we talked with it. Their broker was involved, which is always a huge benefit. Like I said, we're best of trade, so we don't offer benefits, and as far as health benefits goes or workers' comp. So we like to partner with great people in the community to work with these people. So their broker helped get us videos. They got us all the plan documentation, and we got it all in the system. So the employee could sit down in front of their terminal or on their mobile phone and go through their open enrollment process, compare benefit plans side by side, look at the summary benefits to get the full detail. They can watch little videos if they need a little bit more information. And then at the end of it, all the contact information is there for their broker. So if they want to dive a little bit deeper, they can give her a call and learn a little bit more about it. And also another really nice benefit for the employees that is really kind of, I was really surprised when I learned this early in my career at Payroll Inc. is companies often offer benefits that are 100% paid that employees have no idea about. Group term life is a huge one that employers offer that employees don't know about. Getting life insurance, and they just, oh, that's cool. So that's one thing that the system helps through open enrollment. Every employee is automatically enrolled in that. They get to see their coverage. They get to see that it's no cost to them. And at the very end, when they summarize it all up, they see their total payments and then what the company pays. So it's kind of that full circle of the employee seeing what's happening and appreciating themselves as an employee. And then on the back end, we talk about something that took 3 people a full week to do, give or take 120 hours. We're cutting that down to 8 hours for all 3
From
of them.
120 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty astounding savings for a company.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the best things about our platform that I yet to mention is it's one database. So you talk about enrolling in benefits. That's great, but how's it going to get into payroll now? Well, it's one database. So they have a benefit, they have a payroll deduction.
So let's talk about a company that might have had a bump in the road.
Well,
because they're not using a sophisticated human capital management program.
There's kind of, this is kind of a twofold story. This was one of my eye-opening stories in my career that said, okay, well, I need to reevaluate how I do what I do. And it also illuminated a lot to me with companies and how they operate. So I worked with a company about 5 years ago. Their biggest issue was missing punches. Their employees didn't punch in, they didn't punch out, they forgot. And they were on an old style system. They were on an old punch card, and the managers had to go and add up all their hours and figure out what the overtime is.
Oh my goodness.
So they were a few decades behind.
Oh my goodness. That's expensive.
Oh yeah. I mean, you think it takes 5 to 10 minutes a pay period per employee to figure that out, and then you weigh in the human error, and then you weigh in, the time it takes to key all that into the system. It's huge. Hours upon hours. The team just disappeared. So I come in, and I'm a little wet behind the ears at this point in time. I'm about a year in. At this point in time, I was programming the system and training all of our new clientele on the platform. And I thought I had it all figured out. So I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix your whole problem, I promise you. They said, great. So we're going to take and we're going to email your managers every day their missing punches. So it's going to solve your problem, right? You have all these missing punches at the end of the pay period, and you say that the managers have no idea about them. So great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to email you. HR manager said, great, that sounds like a great plan. So we started off, and each manager got about 20 emails a day. And after about 2 days, I don't know, maybe it was probably longer than that, a week or two, they just stopped looking at them. I'm sure a lot of them created a filter and just said, just send this junk, just right to deletion. And we didn't find a solution there. So, so kind of talking about two things here. First is their biggest problem was they had no way of managing missing punches in the first place. They were on manual cards. The second problem was I come in and I thought that I had a solution for them without really sitting down and learning what their management team might want. I assumed that one person knew what the whole company wanted. So after that revelation, I first realized that, hey, I'm here to help people anyways. That's why I got into this. I want to help people and talk to people and learn how I can best fit them. And the only way I can do that is by asking them and diving a little bit deeper instead of making assumptions. So that was a fun little revelation for myself. But what we ended up doing for them, put it more, we took the responsibility away from the manager and gave it to the employee, which at that point in time in my career I thought was crazy, as did the HR manager. But the management team said, look, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to get my employees to punch in and out. So we said, okay. We took the employees, we trained them. We said, hey, whenever you have a missing punch, it's your responsibility. So they go.
And if you don't deal with it,
we jest that we won't get paid, but we live in the fine state of California, so you can't do that. But it does create more work. So if they don't do it, this company didn't implement anything in that sense, but we've had companies that implement point systems, so they track that. So the employee can see, oh, I've missed punches this many times, and I didn't notify my manager this many times. So what we ended up doing for them was throwing it on their employees. So they'd log in, they'd punch, and the system tell them, you have a missing punch. So they'd go, and they'd submit a request to their manager to get it fixed. It was that easy. We took the responsibility from the manager, gave it to the employee, and their missing punches went down dramatically. And it's the power of the system that allows that opportunity to be given to save all that time. And it also educated me that there's not one solution for everybody.
Let me venture something here, because what I'm hearing is something that I've heard in many conversations, is that in this particular case, what I hear is that you are moving from somebody taking responsibility for somebody else
Mm-hmm.
to somebody taking responsibility for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
It does.
Do you see that happening in a larger sense with regard to business, where we are moving from, maybe you could call it patriarchal, maybe you could call it owner-centric, maybe you could call it hierarchical, but what we are moving from people who want to know how to make other people get to do what they want them to do, to a place where we are asking people what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then empowering them to get it done and holding them accountable for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, really great point. People don't do anything unless they want to do it. So you're right. I've seen that shift a lot, and that method has worked for a lot of companies. I mean, some companies love that patriotic, here's what you need to do, and here's when you're going to do
That
it.
tends to be the companies that complain about millennials.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Versus a lot of companies, I mean, especially companies that are looking to invest in their employees in a HCM, human capital management platform, they want to give more responsibility to their employees, to the management team, to let them say, hey, you're responsible to do X, Y, and Z. And, I'm not just saying that. Here's the tool to do it. Make it work for you.
And what have you observed in terms of productivity?
It increases. I mean, that's one great example of missing punches. I mean, one more recently when a company I worked with about 4 months ago, talking about productivity. They're a construction company, and they have jobs all over the Inland Empire. Okay, and their employees punch in and out on their phones because they need to know where they're at, their locations. Now, what they used to do was the manager would just fill out an Excel sheet, and they would allocate all the time to the correct job site, and the manager would be in charge of collecting all the punches and all the missing punches and who's there, who's not there, so on and so forth. And then that manager would then send it to a payroll clerk, and the payroll clerk would then go through, make sure everything's accurate, which by and large it wasn't. And then she would say, okay, here's how many regular hours they have, here's how many overtime hours they have, here's how many double time hours they have, so on and so forth. And then finally that payroll clerk would key it into the system, somebody else would approve it, and then they would generate their certified payroll report. And all that process, they were weekly. You have to know it's a weekly process. So that's 1, 2, 3 people that have to do something. They were taking about 15 hours amongst the 3 of them to do this. So I come in, I learn this, and I say, let me make a recommendation. Let's get the employees to punch in on a mobile app themselves, or an iPad or a tablet of some sort at the job site. Maybe the manager can bring it there. That would work too. And we let them be in charge of their timesheets. Let them submit their missing punches or their corrections as need be. Then we let the managers just simply approve it. And we can take the payroll clerks adding and subtracting and making sure it's all accurate out of the picture. We can send it straight into payroll. And then you don't have to then loop back around and get approval from managers. So we took what was a 10, 15-hour project a week. I mean, down to something that's immeasurably small. I mean, you're talking the employees taking care of their own timesheets, and then cutting that down and just submitting it straight to their manager and getting it approved.
Yeah. So you're talking about maybe 750 to 800 hours a year, right?
Yeah. When I sat with that client and broke it down, we ended up saving them an approximate $15,000 in time spent that they could reallocate to more productive.
And the solution you're providing cost a lot less.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So this is really adding, literally adding to the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm hearing is human capital management. People should be thinking about human capital management. Number one, to add to the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, to reduce the frustration of management when they can't get something done.
Yep.
To increase the accountability of management.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to work with people to help them get what they want.
Definitely.
And that then can reduce the turnover, increase the retention,
Mm-hmm.
and as word gets around, probably attract better quality people to the company. I mean, why would somebody not want to do that?
Definitely.
A substantial return.
Definitely. Yeah.
And this is another way to help businesses thrive in California.
Definitely.
Which is what we are talking about
Mm-hmm.
here. So if somebody said, my payroll company doesn't do that, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick and tired of, and I'm ready to talk,
Mm-hmm.
how would they get in touch with you?
They can call me. My direct line's 909-568-2846. Or they can always visit our website, payrolllink.com, 3 L's in that. And they can look at some of the things our assistants can do, and they can fill out a form on there, and that'll come directly to me.
So calling Brad Moon at
Mhm.
what number again?
909-568-2846.
Well, that's wonderful, and I really hope that more companies with, what did you say, 50 employees or more?
Yeah.
Your sweet spot. So companies that have 50 employees might have their HR people talk with you, or might have the owners talk with you, and
Mhm.
to really learn how they can increase their bottom line, reduce the frustration around lack of accountability, and then actually help employees in their productivity and getting what they want out of the business.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
So glad you're with us, Brad. Well, this is the Pilgrim on the 405. Wishing you a great day and a great Christmas and holiday season coming up, and also looking forward to a wonderful year in 2018.
You've been listening to The Pilgrim on the 405 with Will Christ. To hear more of the programs in this podcast, go to www.willchrist.com.